name is Richard Kirk. I'm the CEO of Workplus, and it's my pleasure today to welcome you to our apprenticeship clinic. Here at Workplus, we've been helping people find apprenticeships for the last 6 years. And in that time, we've helped thousands of applicants to explore all the opportunities available with the companies that we work with. Ultimately, we want to make it easier for you to apply to apprenticeships, to explore them, to find out more about them, and to see opportunities available. And hopefully, for many of you, you've seen the over 100 opportunities that are currently available on the Workplus site. But today, we're going to focus on the application element of it. We're going to guide you through the process of exploring the opportunities, and then also what it takes to make a great application so you can really stand out amongst the rest of the candidates. I'm joined today by my colleague, Lucy Marshall. Lucy is community manager at Workplus and works extensively with companies who are hiring apprentices and also with schools and organisations right across Northern Ireland. So Lucy is really well placed to guide you through the process of exploring and applying to apprenticeships. Lucy, delighted you're with us today. Thanks so much, and I'll hand over to you now.
Great. Thank you, Richard. It's really great to join you all this afternoon. So thanks so much for coming along to this apprenticeship clinic webinar. As Richard said, my name is Lucy and my role involves a lot of skills engagement as well as working with the companies who are taking on apprentices. So hopefully the next hour or so will help you and think about those different employers that we have opportunities with as you consider applying to their roles. Maybe I've been out and about in your school as well, and so if I've met you before, I'm really great to see you again. As you know, there's lots of benefits to thinking about apprenticeships, and maybe you've seen this section of our website so far. Some of the benefits include getting a salary, getting paid, as well as not having to pay any student fees or think about taking out a student loan. And we also know that mentoring is a key part to a successful apprenticeship, as well as having the opportunity to learn on the job and develop the skills that you have while networking and getting a head start on your career. So as I go through the next set of slides or the next application walkthrough, hopefully it gives you an idea about apprenticeships generally, but more specifically about your Workplus application. Apprenticeships are competitive, and so we want to help you be successful in securing an apprenticeship. So hopefully this webinar will help set you up well for making your application through Workplus. So how did Workplus start? Richard mentioned that Workplus started 6 years ago. We've been helping people into apprenticeships for 6 years. But Workplus started when lots of different companies opened their apprenticeship applications at different times during the year. So their lights went off at different times and their deadlines were at different times. So it's really hard for you to keep on top of as you're looking for that perfect apprenticeship. So Workplus started to bring together these different companies into one place in one coordinated application timeframe so that you can't miss the perfect apprenticeship opportunity for you. We're bringing together companies from all across the sectors, from engineering to banking to business, software, finance, supply chain and logistics. There's a whole range of companies in different sectors that are looking to hire apprentices. So you might not recognise some of the logos on the screen of the companies that we're working with, but what you can do is you can find out more about each company through our employer profile section of our website, and I'll walk through in a second how you can find those if you haven't yet explored each company. There are two parts to applying for an apprenticeship. The first part is applying to the job opportunity, which you can do through Workplus, to all the different companies that have live opportunities currently, so some of the logos that you've just seen. And then the second part, the second step, is applying directly to the training provider for the off-the-job learning of an apprenticeship. And that's a direct application form to the university or college that you're applying to. There is only one apprenticeship post that you can apply to through UCAS. The rest are all a direct separate application form from UCAS. So you just apply directly on the website of the training provider, whether that's a university or a college. I mentioned that Workplus brings together different companies into a coordinated time frame. And on our website, you'll be able to find this time frame. You'll see that our applications opened last month in January, and then we have a deadline to apply on the 21st of February. So maybe that's good timing if you're off for half term next week, or maybe you're a career changer and you're looking for an apprenticeship as well. Apprenticeships are for all ages, but this current campaign closes on the 21st of February. We will run another campaign in August, so if you're not successful this time, you can try again in August. You'll also find key dates for when employers shortlist, which is when employers are working behind the scenes to read and consider different applications that they've received. And then from Wednesday, the 12th of March, you may receive an invite to interview with a company if you have applied to their opportunities. So our applications are open until the 21st of February. So what you can do is you can go onto our website and you can look at the live opportunities that you might like to apply to. Maybe you've already started your application, or maybe this is the first time you're hearing about Workplus. You can always log back in and rework or edit your application. So even if you've started, hopefully there'll be some tips in this clinic that will help you make your application the best it can be. Or if you haven't yet started, then I really encourage you to take some notes over the next while, so you can make the most of your application when you do begin. So to navigate to our apprenticeships section of the website, you'll find that under the Careers Explorers tab on workplus.app, workplus.app. So you just need to click the apprenticeships button to be taken through to explore our live apprenticeship opportunities. So you can click on the button to view opportunities, or if you've already created an account, you can just click to log in. Once you click on that button, you'll be taken to another page which has lots of information about apprenticeships generally. So some of the slides you've already seen around time frame or logos of companies that have live opportunities you'll find on that page. And then once you've done your initial reading, initial research, you can click on the available opportunities button to be taken to the site that lists all the live opportunities. We have over 100 opportunities that are live. That this number that says 66 means that there's 66 different roles. So some companies might be hiring for multiple opportunities of one particular role. So that means that you have a nice opportunity to join on a cohort of apprentices, perhaps. When you're exploring the opportunities on this page, you can see that there is a long list of opportunities. So maybe a map view is an easier way for you to consider the different opportunities that might suit you. And perhaps you'd like an apprenticeship that's local to you, or perhaps you are prepared to move to Belfast or to apply to opportunities in Belfast or elsewhere if you have transport. So think about the map view and seeing opportunities that way. Once you maybe have looked at the map view, you can have a look at the list view, and this gives you an idea of the different opportunities. You can see whether that's applying a filter to opportunities. Maybe there's a particular employer that you've done work experience with and that you'd like to apply to their role. So you can filter based on the employer, or you can just scroll through the opportunities to see what's available. When you click on a particular opportunity to find out more info, you'll see that there's different tabs or different sections on each job opportunity. And this is our way of breaking it down into what the particular apprenticeship role might look like. So this is you applying to the job, remember. That means that there's information about the course, which is the separate application process, remember? And you can just click on the link to be taken to the relevant website for you to make your application to the course. Or you can also see information about the job role as well as the type of person that they're looking for. So each job opportunity breaks it down into those sections for that information. You'll also see that you can click on the company, and that takes you through to the employer profiles. So remember, in the different logos that I was walking through, each company has a way that they are promoting themselves to you, that they want to break down to you what their job role might be like within their company, within their organization. So just click on the employer to find out more about that particular company. It's really important to do your research on the company before you apply, and you might want to pull out some keywords when you're reading through their employer profile to see if they're shedding light on the type of person that they'd like to join their organization. So do make sure that you read the employer profile before you apply. Don't just apply to random opportunities, and carefully research whether or not it's somewhere that you see yourself working and starting as an apprentice. The next couple of slides break down some of the different apprenticeship live roles that are available on our website. So remember, there's over 100 of these, and I'm about to show you maybe 10 different opportunities. So there's a whole range. But before I flick through the next slides, which show you some of these job roles, you may have noticed that there's different levels of apprenticeships that are on our website. And what do the levels mean? Well, this is a good question, and the levels can be something that people find quite confusing to get their head around. Essentially, it's just a way of categorizing different entry points for apprenticeships. So any apprenticeships at level 2 or level 3 are suitable for people who have GCSEs or who are working towards GCSEs this year, and will have their GCSEs by August time. There's also some entry level roles that you can look at level 2, and these are suitable if you don't yet have your GCSEs, but maybe you'd work towards essential skills at the same time as your apprenticeship. So look out for those if that's suitable for you. There's also higher level apprenticeships, which are level 5 and above. Level 5 is working towards a foundation degree, and then level 6 is working towards a bachelor's degree. And a bachelor's degree is your typical undergraduate degree that people might work towards at full-time university. So level 5 or level 6 apprenticeships will be the suitable level that you'll apply to if you have A levels or equivalent. So those are the higher level apprenticeships. So please do make sure that you're checking the eligibility requirements for each apprenticeship before applying, because employers want to chat to people who are eligible for their apprenticeship. Ultimately, the training provider sets the entry requirements, so you can find their entry requirements on their website. And remember, you can find a link to the relevant course under the About the Course section of the job opportunity. We will have time for questions at the end, so if there's anything there that I've said that maybe you'd like more clarification on, please do enter your question into the Q&A chat function. So this is a role in business support at level 3. So remember, that's for people after their GCSEs who might be interested in getting a higher qualification in business administration. And this is with a company called 3173. And remember, you can click on their company name to find out more about what they do in the world of pensions. So do click on their employer profile. We also have roles in civil engineering, which you can start after GCSEs or if you have GCSEs or equivalent. And this would be a site-based civil engineering role. So if you're considering civil engineering, do have a think about whether or not a site-based role or a consultancy-based role is best for you. Consultancy-based roles are more office-based, so do think about the type of civil engineering that you want to go into before you apply to different roles. There are also opportunities for electricians based in Macrofelt and with Premier Electrics. Again, remember, you can click on the employer name to find out more about that company and where they're based. We also have joinery roles based in Cookstown and a number of different roles with TransLink all at level 3. So these are lower level opportunities. There's a range of locations where you can work out of with these roles in TransLink. So maybe if you're local to any of the areas listed, that might be something that you'd like to apply to. Then to look at a number of our higher level opportunities, we have building services engineering with Troop Bywaters and Anders, as well as civil engineering at a higher level with P. Keenan's based in Macrofelt. There's also quantity surveying roles based in Dungannon, so opportunities all across Northern Ireland, and supply chains and logistics is a role based out of Tuam. We have roles with construction engineering and management with the Ligon Specialist Contracting Group. So have a look at their role if you're interested in construction engineering and management. Or maybe you're more interested in something like software, and Instill are hiring a couple of apprentices to join their team of software engineers. There are business technology roles with Teamworks. Maybe you're interested in sport, and so this might be a role that you're interested in, and you can find out more about Teamworks as a company, again, by clicking on their employer name. We have companies that are hiring across a whole range of departments, and Cuba Systems is one company that has a number of different roles from engineering to finance that you might like to apply to. So have a look at their roles, and they're based in Craigavon. If you're interested in accounting and maybe you enjoy maths in school, then you can have a look at some of the opportunities with BDO, as well as opportunities in business like leading customer operations with NI Chamber. Again, lots of different companies that are hiring different opportunities for apprentices. AIB have a number of opportunities. There's an open night with AIB tomorrow, so maybe you've got tickets and you're coming along to hear more about their specific higher level apprenticeship opportunities. They have one role that they're looking for as a branch specialist based in Dungannon, and then they also have a few other roles that are based out of their head office in Belfast. So have a look at all those different opportunities and you can see, and remember just to scroll through the job opportunity for each role that you'll see the link to the course, the map view of where the job is based, as well as the job description and the person specification. And then remember, you can click on the employer name to be taken to their employer profile, and you can click on the course linked to be taken to the relevant website where you'll make a direct application. Just a quick note as well that there are some exceptions to some of the apprenticeship courses that require a separate application. And I just mean by that Ulster University are asking that you only make your application to them for the course after you have a job offer. So only once you've received a job offer, make your application to Ulster University for their apprenticeship course. Some of the other colleges do this differently, and so we'd advise you to apply to their courses now. But for the likes of Ulster University, and it's similar with TransLink and their opportunities, don't yet make your application to the college. Wait until you have a job offer and they will walk you through that process at that stage. Remember the employer profiles that I mentioned. I just really want to encourage you again to make sure that you do your reading before you think about applying. But once you're in a position to make an application then to a particular role, click the Apply Now button on the role, and then that will take you through to start your Workplus profile. So please make sure that you have carefully read the job description, that you've carefully read the person specification, that you think it's a good match for you before you make your application. Employers are spending time reading your application that you submit to them, and they only want to talk to people that are passionate about that particular area and that are ready to get a head start with an apprenticeship. So if you're not sure if it's right for you, then please think carefully about applying. Please consider applying carefully. But if you've read the job description and you think that this is really an opportunity you'd like to avail of, then click Apply Now and you can start to create your Workplus profile. We'll ask for your email address first, and then you'll enter your PIN code from your email. So it means that it's one less password to remember. Once you have entered your PIN code, you will then see your dashboard or your profile, which you'll start. So I'm now going to walk through what the Workplus application looks like. Again, maybe this is familiar to you, maybe you've seen this already, but if it isn't, then hopefully the next slides will help you in that process. You can see on the dashboard that there are 2 zeros in the circles here, because I'm just starting now to do the application process. So If we look at the profile, when you click on the profile section, this is the first part of your Workplus application that you'll be required to complete. You'll see that there's a bit of an explanation as to what you will need to answer, or what the application process might look like for you. We give you the list of the different questions that you'll be asked to answer, and these are 150-word answer questions. So please do think carefully about your answers, and please do make the most of that word count. So maybe at this stage you think, actually, I'm not quite ready to complete my application, but I'm going to copy and paste the questions. I'm going to paste them into a Word document or a Google Doc or something, and then I'm going to think about my answers. And would really encourage you to chat to your teacher, your parent, maybe a friend, somebody that could help you with your application process and help you think through ideas or examples that might be best to include in your answers. So do think carefully about your application answers before you start the process. But once you've got to that point, once you've done a bit of research, once you've thought about what examples you'll include, or maybe even you have your draft answers sitting ready to go then and just to paste into your Workplus profile, then you can click on to the next section of the profile of your Workplus profile, where you can enter your name, you can enter your date of birth, other contact information, and once you've done that, you can click that you've completed that particular section. We'll then prompt you to enter your qualifications, and you'll see that there's a 1, 2, 3 step way of doing this, or kind of tips on how you enter your qualifications. So what you do is you just type into the qualification box the particular qualification that you have. You'll see that there's some suggestions of how you can enter these. For example, maths, if you type in maths, you might not find your qualification. It'll be listed as mathematics. And also you want to enter the level of qualification that it is, as well as the particular exam board that you studied your qualification under. So maybe that's SEA if you're based in Northern Ireland, and then you're entering your GCSE for maths and level 1/2, because that is the level of a GCSE qualification. But once you start typing into the box, hopefully you'll see a drop down, and that will help you find the specific qualification that you have. Maybe you're about to sit exams in June, and so for any pending grades, please enter your predicted grade. So for example, if you're waiting to sit an exam in June, you can enter August 2025, because that's when you'll get your result as the date, the predicted date. And then you can also enter the predicted grade that either you or your teacher might expect you to achieve. So please do enter any pending grades that you're waiting to sit or you're expecting to sit this year, and that'll help employers to know what stage you're at. If you've any issues with the qualification section, you can see that there's a little yellow chat function button, and you can select that to speak to any of the Workplus team who will help you find your qualification, because sometimes it is a bit fiddly. So please do chat to us through the chat function if you're having any difficulties. But as you can see, there's a simple 1, 2, 3 tip there for how you can find your qualifications. Once you've entered all your qualifications, you can then click Save for the qualification, and you can see that you get a qualification added yellow message. Once you've entered all your qualifications, just click List Complete, which you'll see at the bottom there, and that'll take you through to the next page, which is your employment and work experience. So for adding employment, you can add it once at a time, and again, once you've completed the employment section, you can click List Complete, and that'll take you to the next page. This is where you can enter any part-time jobs that you've had. Again, you want to really get across the skills that you have. You want to really think about your answers carefully, because employers will be reading these, and a lot are keen to see the work experience and employment section of your application to see what you might be like as an addition to their team. You can also include any work shadowing that you've completed, or maybe you went to coding camps or anything like that. You can enter that into this section, and you really want to get across what you learned, what you've achieved, the skills that you have, what you brought to that particular role. And there's all the different question prompts there for that section when you're adding each position of employment or work experience. Once you've done that, you can click on to the next part, which is the 150 word long answers. So remember, I mentioned maybe you've had a working document or something similar that you've asked for input in from teachers or from parents or colleagues. And then once you're at a stage that you're content that your answers are the best they can be, and they really do show your how you'd be an asset to the team, the particular companies you're applying to, then what you can do is you can paste your answers in to those sections up to 150 words, and then you can click complete section once you have selected the answer to all those questions. There's also a monitoring question and a declaration. And then once you've completed those sections, that is your profile complete. This will take you back to your dashboard. And so you've done a lot of hard work to get to there, particularly with the longer answer questions. So well done for completing your profile. But as you'll see that there is still a number 0 in the complete circle, in the complete blue circle. And that means that you haven't yet made your application. So you've completed a profile, but you haven't made an application to Workplus. And so it's really important that you don't stop there. You need to then apply directly to the apprenticeship job. So that means that you're clicking the blue apply to opportunity box, which will take you through the apprenticeship application section. So once you click apply to opportunity, you can go through to select the pathway that you might be interested in. So you'll see there's a drop down, and these are the different groupings that we group apprenticeships in. Now, if you don't remember what the grouping was, that's okay. Remember, if you've had a look and you've read through the job description, you'll find that information on the job role. So you'll see the grouping that it's in. And then what you can do is you can rank the particular opportunities. We have an employer ranking system, and this is what this question is, because you may be applying to multiple companies within one application. And so it's up to you to rank the roles in order of preference. Some companies do use this as part of their shortlisting, so it's important that you're thinking carefully about each one and that you have read and considered each job opportunity. Maybe you have another tab open and you're flicking back and forth to see, is this really a company that I'd like to work for? If it isn't, maybe it's not feasible for you to travel to a particular role, then please delete the employer opportunity from the list. You can delete or remove, but only apply to the ones that you are seriously considering. So you can reorder them as well. And then once you've made your final selection, you can click next. This takes you through to the training provider question. But if you remember what I said earlier about the likes of Ulster University, and you'll see that there's a bit of text there that explains this, you don't need to make an application to them at this stage because you don't have a job offer. Whereas if you're applying to the colleges, we'd encourage you to make your application to the training provider at this stage. So you don't need to apply to Ulster University at the moment, and you can just leave that blank for this particular job role. You'll see there's a final question here that we ask you to answer. Again, this is 150 words, and this answer can be tailored to each apprenticeship grouping, each pathway that you apply to. So if I'm applying to leading customer operations, I want to get across that I enjoy working with people. Maybe I enjoy working as part of a team. I've maybe done work experience in a business or with people, and I want to get all those sorts of skills across in that particular answer. But maybe you're then going on to apply to a software role, and that's where you can tailor your answer slightly differently. So you get to write a different answer for each apprenticeship grouping. So do just think carefully about how you can specifically talk about yourself and your skills in this area. And remember, employers are reading a large number of applications, and so you want to try and help them think about how they want to invite you to interview and how your skills would be a good match for their company. Particularly if you've done your research, this is a good opportunity to get in all kinds of examples that might be particularly suited to that organisation or that apprenticeship grouping. So once you've completed that answer, then you'll get a lovely thank you message. Again, you've done a lot of hard work to get to this point, so well done. And what you can do is you can click Visit Dashboard, which takes you back to here, or you can also make another opportunity application. So you can make a second or third apprenticeship application to different apprenticeship types, different apprenticeship groupings with different employer rankings for each one. So do think about which ones you're applying to. And you'll see that I have now number 1 in the complete, the blue circle, and that means that I have completed my application. And if you want assurance, you can see that at the bottom there is a list there of the completed applications that you've made. You'll also see there's a bit of text there to talk about disability action and support that they can offer. So please do have a read of that if that's something that you'd like to avail of. You'll also see that you're able to edit or download your application, and there's also a delete button. So if before the deadline on the 21st of February or thereafter, you realise that the apprenticeship is not right for you, it's not your first choice, that's okay, but please do make sure to delete your application. Again, employers are spending time reading and considering each application, and they don't want to spend time reading an application of someone who isn't really committed to applying for an apprenticeship. So if you decide that it's not for you, make sure that you delete your application, because employers don't want to spend time phoning you, trying to get a hold of you, or emailing you to invite you to interview if actually you're not going to reply to them and if you're not going to pursue that opportunity. So please don't take an opportunity from somebody else who really does want an apprenticeship, and please do delete your application if you've decided that it's no longer right for you. If you want to view your application once you've completed it, you can click Edit, and that'll take you through to, click Download, and this will take you through to the download of your application if you want to see it on like a PDF view. Maybe you want to print it out or email it across to somebody to check over it and make sure you don't have any typos or spelling mistakes, and make sure that you're not missing some key information that would make you come across as employable. So you can download your application, or you can also click Edit if you want to edit it. Once you have completed your application as well, remember you've completed your profile and then you've completed your apprenticeship application. So only after you've completed the apprenticeship application will you get an email from us to say, well done, you've completed an application. And again, just check that you've got this through your email so that you definitely have successfully completed it. This will also make sure that you've typed in the right email, that your email is working, and that you're getting our communications. So do double check to make sure that you've got this. You'll also see that you're invited to take a suitability assessment. And so we really encourage you to complete the suitability assessment because it won't disadvantage you from completing it. And it is the final part of your Workplus application. So you'll see that it is a tab on the left-hand side, and when you click into it, it gives you some suggestions of length of time that it might complete. And we also recommend that you check that you have good Wi-Fi connection before you complete it, because you can only take it once. Once you click the suitability assessment button, there's no turning back, and so don't click on it if you're not prepared to take it there and then, okay? Only click the suitability assessment button. You'll see that it's already completed for me on my dashboard, but only click it once you're ready to take it there and then, and once you have 35 minutes of undistracted time that you can complete it. And again, we really encourage you to complete it. It's not compulsory, but we really encourage you to complete it. Once you click the button to complete, it'll take you through to a kind of a website, new tab called Preview, and that's the company that we run the suitability assessments through. But if you have any issues about anything, you can just reach out to us and we can support you with that. So remember the chat function that exists, but do encourage you to complete the suitability assessment. So remember the two steps to the application process. I've walked through step one, and we've walked through how you apply to the apprenticeship opportunity through Workplus, the different job roles. But remember there's step two, which is applying directly to the training provider. And remember you'll find that linked under the About the Course section of the job opportunity on Workplus, which is the specific match of course for your apprenticeship job. And then when you click on it, it'll take you through to the relevant website. But remember as well, I said for Ulster University, it is an exception in that you only apply to the course once you have a job offer, so you can hold off doing that for now. Just to remind you of the key timeline for our current apprenticeship campaign. The deadline to apply is the 21st of February at noon. We don't accept late applications, so please do get your full application form submitted before then. And remember, you're thinking carefully about whether or not you're serious about the jobs that you're applying to and whether or not they're right for you. I also mentioned at the start about how employers work behind the scenes when they're shortlisting. So they're reading applications, and then if they'd like to invite you to interview, you'll hear from them from the 12th of March. That may be a group interview, that may be a one-on-one informal chat. It's up to the company how they interview you, and they'll reach out to you directly if they would like to invite you for interview. So remember to keep an eye on your emails from then, keep an eye on your phone, and get back to employers at the earliest opportunity. From the 31st of March, you might be made a job offer for an apprenticeship. So do keep that date in mind, especially if you've been interviewed by lots of different companies, depending on which you've applied to. So it could be lovely for you to go into the rest of the spring, summer term knowing that you have an apprenticeship job offer. And then if you've applied to a course at Ulster, or if you're thinking of applying to a course at Ulster University or with TransLink, remember that you can make your application to those colleges or universities at that stage. I hope that has been a helpful walkthrough of your application process, of the Workplus application process. On the screen, you'll see some top tips about making your application great. And these are all taken from a video that we have that is live on our YouTube channel. So it's about a minute long, and I'm going to play it now for you. And it gives you some top tips that are from employers about what they're looking for on people's applications. So hopefully this is helpful. And remember, it's on our YouTube channel if you want to watch it again later. So I'll play that video now.
My top tip for application is just be yourself.
When there's a large number of applications coming in, being concise is key so that shortlisting can be done and we can find the right people as quickly as possible.
Note down all your life and work experience as much as we'll look at your grades and predicted grades. We want to see what you like to do in your social life and also if you have any work experience.
We always like to see teamwork on the application. So if you can put that through on your work experience or different teams or stuff that you're in, that comes across well.
Really think about your skills and how you can highlight them and sell them to the employer.
Use the interests box, write what you're passionate about, and that will help target your employers better.
Use the STAR method, so the situation, task, the action and result, to keep your answers really structured and concise and to use clear examples.
Great. So hopefully that was a helpful video for you as you think about how you can make your application stand out from other people and how it can grab the attention of employers. But remember, we have lots of other videos on our YouTube channel, so do check out those, and that might be helpful as you research different companies and their live apprenticeship opportunities that you might like to apply to. Remember, on the Workplus website, we have an FAQ section. I mentioned as well earlier some of the support that is available through Disability Action. So again, you can find that information on the FAQ section. But if any of your questions that you have are not there, or maybe you'd like to ask them now as we finish here on this webinar, but if not, you can always chat to us through the chat function on the website. So do reach out to us if we can help with anything or if it can't be answered in the FAQ section. Now we're going to have a time for questions, so you can register with your email address if you haven't already joined our mailing list. But now we're going to move on to time for questions. So if there's anything that I said that you'd like more clarity on, or if there's anything specific you'd like to know about apprenticeships, then please do submit your questions now through the chat function. I'm going to stop sharing my screen so I can see the questions, but we'll hear from Richard on those questions now.
Thanks so much, Lucy, for that. And there have been questions coming in right throughout the session, and I've tried to answer as many of those as possible. But it might be worthwhile if I just go through some of the themes that were picked up so that folks can pick up on that. So question coming in about just clarifying the whole piece with Ulster University, that you must have an employer before you apply to Ulster, but we understand that that's the only learning provider that's the case for. Queen's and the colleges do still want you to apply. That's your understanding, Lucy?
Yes. I think Premier Electrics, one of the employers we're working with, has a private course for their electrician roles. So if that's a role that you're looking at applying to, again, that's a private course, so you don't need to apply to that at this stage. And also for the likes of TransLink, they'll walk you through their application process. They have private courses for their apprentices to study on. So there's a private cohort of apprentices. But yes, the colleges and Queen's, you can apply for their courses now, but Ulster University and TransLink and that one role at Premier Electrics hold off. But if you'd like to ask specifically about a role you're applying to, and we know it's confusing because they all do it in different ways, so do just reach out to us by the chat function.
Great, thank you. Thanks. You mentioned the time frame earlier. One of the questions coming in is, how long can I expect to wait to hear back from the employer? So applications close on the 21st of February. So it's really that March time, isn't it, that the shortlisting interviews happen?
Yeah, so from the 12th of March, that's probably the earliest that you'll hear from a company. The shortlisting process between the application deadline and then the 12th of March is all behind the scenes. So that's employers taking time to read your application. So it's from the 12th of March that you may hear from an employer with an invite to interview, kind of from the middle of March to the end of March, with job offers being made from the 31st of March.
Okay, great. A question here, it's someone saying, is lower sixth too early to apply to an apprenticeship?
Great. Well, it's great you're on the call. Brilliant. So if you were looking for a degree level apprenticeship, lower sixth would be too early. So we'd advise you to come back next year and apply then for when you're thinking about leaving school. But there are lower level opportunities that are suitable for people who have GCSEs or equivalent. But the higher level opportunities, you'll need A levels or equivalent. So unfortunately, there's nothing for AS levels or equivalent at that stage.
Okay. So a couple of questions came through about UCAS. I think it's probably important that we clarify there that there's no connection between this process and UCAS. That if you're applying to a degree apprenticeship, you need to apply to the employer and then to apply to the course directly with the college or the university. And again, just to stress the point that if it's with Ulster University, you need to have the employer in place before you do that. So it's really important. This is a different process from you applying to UCAS for undergraduate degrees. This is not the same process. So you need to apply directly and find an employer, and we're helping you to do that. There are other employers that aren't working with Workplus. You can maybe ask them why are they not? If when you're applying to them, we want to make your life easier and through one process. So question here, Lucy says, for apprenticeships at level 6, do you need to work as well as attend university? So just maybe worthwhile just clarifying that.
Yes, good question. So apprenticeships typically are 1 day a week at university or college and then 4 days a week at work. So there's no need for you to get a part-time job alongside an apprenticeship. You are a full-time employee as an apprentice, and that is made up of your 1 day a week at university or college and 4 days a week at work. You're getting a good salary from your employer, so you don't have to work alongside to help support yourself. And we hear from apprentices that they often get bonuses or raises throughout their apprenticeship. You could even see it as being paid to go to university as well. So it's very different from full-time university students that are paying and getting in a significant amount of debt, including interest on the student loan that they have. So it's a very different head start into your apprenticeship. And we're always talking to apprentices about all the holidays that they're going on, or their plans to buy a car. So it's very different student life compared to full-time university students who are paying student fees and having to work a part-time job to support themselves through full-time study.
Hey, great, great. Question saying here, I haven't finished my A levels just yet. They're not clear whether or not it's they're in lower sixth or upper sixth, Lucy, but saying I'll apply if I'm looking for a level 5 apprenticeship. So I think we can assume that they're upper sixth in that case, but they haven't actually done their A levels yet. They're maybe doing them this summer.
Yeah, so you can still apply if you're waiting to sit your A levels this year. You can just enter your grades for your A levels as pending or predicted grades. So you can enter them as pending or predicted grades with a future date. So entering as 2025, August 2025, for those subjects that you have yet to complete. But from results day in August, the training provider, the university or the college, will reach out to you to make sure that you have secured what you need and are eligible for their course. So from August, you will need to have your A levels to be eligible to start that apprenticeship. That September, or maybe that apprenticeship might start a few weeks earlier, just from the work side of things, to ease you into your apprenticeship and help with that transition until you begin your studies, typically in September 2025.
That's great. Thank you. A question coming in here saying I've seen the civil engineering apprenticeship is level 5 to 7. So, can you maybe just explain a little bit about what that logic and just to clarify that one?
Yes, so we group our apprenticeships together within different levels. So that means that different employers can choose different courses at different levels that suit them as an organisation. So if you're seeing the grouping of level 5 to 7, that means that you have the option to start at level 5, which is working towards a foundation degree, or the option to start at working towards level 6, which is the bachelor's degree. And for civil engineering, there's a master's progression pathway, which would be the level 7 equivalent. So you just need to look at the specific job opportunity to see which particular course level or pathway that employer wants you to start on. There might be several listed, and so that means that that employer is happy for you to apply to whichever you would like to. You will see that some employers group them as separate opportunities at the different levels, and that might help with their shortlisting process. But other employers might group them all together because they're happy to shortlist based from one particular batch or pool. So if you're seeing them as different ways for different companies, that's okay. Just make sure that you have applied to the right opportunity that you want to apply to and that you are eligible or thinking about studying on that course. So hopefully that helps. That the levels can be confusing, but essentially it's just an indication of the course. The course gives you the exact level that you will be on.
Okay, thanks, Lucy. And again, if you're doing A levels, we'd encourage you to apply to those, and then the eligibility checks will be done on our side as well if you've got qualifications. So just a few comments coming here, just try and pick up a quick number of these questions before we wrap up. So, question about suitability assessment: should I do it? Will it actually not help me? Well, we would definitely encourage applicants to do that, wouldn't we?
Yes, Richard, we would. We'd really encourage you to complete it. It's another way that employers get to see some of your strengths and some of your skills as they look at the score that they receive for your suitability assessment. The scoring is different based on the type of apprenticeship that you apply to. So for some job roles that are particularly need someone who maybe uses their hands more, you'll be scored on those sorts of skills compared to another role that's maybe more of a problem-solving apprenticeship role. So the type of apprenticeship that you're applying to will have a different scoring based on the kind of way that you've approached the test. So we would encourage you to complete it. We hear from some employers that they shortlist not based on the score for the test, but actually based on whether or not someone has completed it, because they think that if they've taken the time to complete the test, then that in itself reveals a lot to the employer. So hopefully that encourages you too, that some employers might not use the scoring as part of their shortlisting, but they'll use the fact that you've completed it or not as part of their shortlisting. This is something, the suitability assessment, that is used across all industries, across all sectors, and is a common part of different application forms. But again, it's just another way for employers to see about the type of person that you are, the skills that you have, and how you might be suited to their organisation. So don't worry about it, don't overthink it. Just take 35 minutes to complete it. It's not compulsory, but would really encourage you to do that.
And it's actually fun to do, so you can hopefully enjoy that session as well. Okay, let's pick up a few more quick fire ones here. I'll maybe pick up a couple of these, but question coming in saying, I've completed my profile, but I haven't actually completed an application just yet. Can I edit my profile? Yes, you can. There's a way you can do that just on the left-hand side of the dashboard, so you can do that there. And some questions coming through here just around, if I apply to an apprenticeship, can I go to university overseas? How can do I need to go to work alongside it? I think it's really important that you know that an apprenticeship is a job. First and foremost, it's a job. And then you go to college or university, typically 1 day a week, as Lucy has said. So we can't impress that upon you enough. This is not the same courses that you've applied to if you're applying through UCAS. So it's really important that you understand that. I've applied to an accountancy apprenticeship through Workplus. That's great, thank you. But I want to apply to other companies as well. I think that comes back to the ranking question. It's a really important way. Use that ranking of the employers to indicate who are your preferred employers, using the profiles that Lucy has mentioned already, because you really only want to put your application in front of companies that you're really serious about. As we mentioned already, we have a significant number of people applying for apprenticeships. So please don't put the application in unless you've really thought this is going to be for me. We want to make sure that that you're not taking a place of someone who might be interested. So this is your first choice, not your backup. So I think that's picked up most of the questions. Lucy, just a question here, just saying about most of the opportunities seem to be in the east of the province. You mentioned we have a few in Marifelt, some in maybe Coleraine. Just right now, we don't have any companies that are in the northwest. We're trying to work with more companies to make it easier for you to do that. But unfortunately, just in this campaign, we don't have anyone in that area. Answer to this, maybe we can come back on this one. But if you get an apprenticeship, are you eligible to apply to student accommodation? Are you aware? And I know of a couple of apprentices that have gone into accommodation, but maybe not in that student accommodation in halls. Do you have any sense of that from talking to apprentices?
Yes, I similarly know of a few apprentices who are studying or who are living with friends in a house. I think some do live in student accommodation. It's worth looking into, particularly private student accommodation, worth reaching out to the relevant provider of student accommodation, the relevant company, to see and ask that question. Yeah,
that's great. And we are hearing of more apprentices that are starting to buy their own homes as well. So that's something to consider. You might not have to stay in halls for too long, either, with some of the opportunities that you'll get.